It is the future of UKIP. Where are they going? Who will be leading UKIP? What will they stand for? As if by magic, I get a call from a UKIP MEP, Jonathan Arnott, who's also standing for the leadership. Jonathan, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
We're having difficulty, I suppose, just before we get onto your own campaign, I guess establishing, and maybe UKIP themselves are also sharing in this difficulty of establishing what UKIP stand for now that there is no need to fight for independence.
Well, I don't think that there is any particular difficulty because UKIP obviously had a very strong manifesto in 2015, just like we have had in previous elections. That manifesto was obviously put together as the result of a lot of work and was very widely supported within the party. In fact, we were the only party at that general election who had an independently costed manifesto, so we could prove that our sums added up. So I think to say that UKIP doesn't stand for anything else other than the EU is an idea that we heard back in 2006, 2007. Now we start being told that UKIP doesn't stand for anything other than the EU or control over immigration. But of course we do have a complete range of policies on other issues, whether it's being a party of low tax, whether it's being a party of raising the tax threshold to take the poorest paid people in society out of taxation, whether it's direct democracy.
Well, the Tories have beaten you to that, haven't they?
Sorry, who have beaten you?
The Tories have beaten you to taking the poorest out of taxation altogether.
How would you suggest they beat us to that? That was
they've already done it.
That was a UKIP policy back in 2008, and they come up with a light version of our policy, and they haven't...
Well, I remember Norman Tebbit talking about it years ago, but as a policy, you're right, it pitches up in their manifesto, largely because the Lib Dems wanted it there. But, I mean, whoever thought of it first, the fact is it's in place now.
Well, they've got nowhere near far enough, and you need to raise the tax threshold.
Where would you go?
You have at the moment.
20 grand?
We are the people.
Tax-free?
Well, you come up with an exact figure when you publish a manifesto for the election, don't you? Because you have to make sure that your sums add up, which is what we did in 2015. We made sure that was properly, professionally and independently costed, unlike any other party. And if you start bandying figures about now, years before an election, you know exactly what people in the media are going to do to us. They'll come back and they'll say, you promised that figure. Sure. When the economy was in that state.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I think the broader question, though, Jonathan, is what is, you know, we sort of loosely know what a Tory party stands for, loosely know what a Corbyn Labour Party stands for. What would, if you were trying to explain to the apocryphal alien what UKIP is, how would you describe that?
We'd talk about people power, we'd talk about democracy, we'd talk about getting people more engaged in politics, giving people the chance to vote, to call referendums on key issues. We'd talk about being tough on crime. We'd talk about aiming at helping the ordinary, hard-working people of this country and rewarding those who work hard. We'd talk about controlling immigration, not about getting rid of immigration altogether, but controlling it so that we don't have the massive oversupply of unskilled labour, which is costing jobs and driving down wages in this country. So there are many things that we talk about. I think the theme that runs behind it is getting the government out of interfering with people's daily lives as much as possible and giving people the freedom, independence and democracy to get on with their own lives.
So does that make you more of a kind of an authentic alternative to Labour or an authentic alternative to the Conservatives?
Well, we're an authentic alternative to both, but I think right at the moment, when you see the ways that the Labour Party has completely abandoned its roots over such a long period of time, I think it's very important actually for UKIP to be that voice that stands up to Labour in...
well, hang on, they've got a genuine socialist for the first time in years running the Labour Party. That's not abandoning its roots, that's confirming and going back to its roots, isn't it?
But when I talk to voters on the street, say in Hartlepool, in my constituency, the people who I speak to, they may well be people who are traditional Labour voters, but actually what they believe isn't the Corbyn-style socialism. Actually, quite often, they take quite traditionally right-wing views on a lot of issues, and the Labour Party has simply abandoned them over a very long period of time. They've completely abandoned their working class roots, and actually neither the Corbyn strain of Labour nor the Blairite strain of Labour nor the Smith strain of Labour. None of those actually, in any way, address the issues that are affecting working people, particularly, as I would see it, in the north of England and in my constituency, where really the big problems are about the economy, are about jobs, are about immigration, all of those things. Which
all right, well, you're going to
being addressed.
Sorry to cut in, Jonathan. We're just short of time, but you're going to be launching your campaign to be leader of UKIP on Wednesday this week. Who are you likely to be up against, and do you think Stephen Wolfe should be on that list?
I think we know who I'll be up against, with the exception of Stephen Wolfe. Whether Stephen Wolfe is on that list is, of course, a decision for the vetting panel to take and the returning officer to take. Now, that is not something that I could comment on as a candidate. It would be a complete conflict of interest for me to say who my opponents should be or what the rules of the contest should be.
A conflict of interest in terms of winning it?
No, a conflict of interest in terms of what I should and should not say. I should not prejudice the rules of a contest which I'm standing in. It would be completely wrong for me to do that. OK.
Well, Jonathan, we look forward to seeing what is in your speech to launch your campaign. Jonathan Arnott, UKIP